Hi everyone, welcome back to Audico's Hub. If you like our training videos and tutorials in the field of biotechnology and food technology, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Also, hit the bell icon to never miss any updates.
This is our first episode. We will be coming up with 2 episodes in a month. Our intention is all the students that will be coming as a speaker here will be discussing about the facts that they will face or they basically had faced in their project days. It's not about bragging something. People brag a lot about, yes, my life was this, my life was this. But we are here to talk about the real facts. This is our whole intention.
Our first speaker is Ms. Simran Katle, and she has completed her project from CSIR IHBT. And as you all know, CSIR IHBT is a very renowned tissue culture laboratory in Himachal Pradesh. Now, her project is titled Optimization of Axillary Shoot Proliferation and Biochemical Characterization of Giant Bamboo.
So, hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Simran Katle, and I have done my BTech Biotechnology in Navi Mumbai. And I have done my dissertation work in CSIR IHBT, which is a lab in Himachal Pradesh. And the topic for my project was optimization of axillary shoot proliferation and biochemical characterization of giant bamboo, Dendrocalamus giganteus, Bolex munro. Okay. So firstly, I would like to tell some things about CSIR lab. Now, this is CSIR, and it is a beautiful place to do your research studies and to do your dissertation work and all. It has a lot of departments like the plant tissue culture department or microbiology department, food technology department, also proteomics, bioinformatics, hydroponics, aeroponics, and also floriculture. Okay, so there is a lot of opportunity for you guys if you join this lab. And it's basic the basic motive of plant tissue culture laboratory is that they try to establish the extinct plant cultures of Himachal Pradesh, and they try to establish that culture in their lab. Okay, and one of them was Dendrocalamus giganteus, so it was allotted to me, and this topic was given to me by my guide. Okay, so let's start with my project. In plant tissue culture, I had not only just worked in about micropropagation and its biochemistry, but I have also worked in all these fields like the molecular biology, the proteomics, biochemistry, algae culture, aeroponics, hydroponics, and all these fields. Okay, in molecular biology, you can basically learn about the DNA or RNA, but along with that, you can also get hands-on training on different instruments, like you can get training on PCR, real-time PCR, and all other such instruments. And in proteomics, you can learn 2 most important techniques, that is 1D gel electrophoresis and 2D gel electrophoresis. Now, we have heard about these techniques, but what exactly is that technique we can will really enjoy when we go there and we get hands-on training on these techniques. Okay, moving on to biochemistry, we can do biochemical analysis of the secondary metabolites like the total phenolic compound, total flavonoid compound, and also about total carbohydrates compound of proteins, fats, etc. Algae culture was a different field which I had my training in, and I can't really explain that to you guys, but that was really a fun laboratory experience, because we had literally cultured the algae. Like, it started from microbiology to literally mass propagation of those algae cultures, and it was a really good experience for me. Also aeroponics and hydroponics. Now this was a hands-on training session for just 3 to 5 days, and I was really lucky to get training in this field as well. And it also had micropropagation as its main agenda, but it was also a good experience for me. Okay, so now we all have studied plant tissue culture in college, so we basically know the basic protocol of this plant tissue culture. What we basically do, we collect the sample, then we treat it with different surface sterilizants like the antifungal or antibacterial. In my study, I had used Bevestin and streptomycin sulfate. And then we inoculate them in different mediums like MS medium or B5 medium, White's medium, Nistrit medium, or etc. Woody plant medium, okay? And then we transfer those cultures into the medium containing the PGR, that is for shoot proliferation or for root proliferation or for callus induction, somatic embryogenesis, etc. Okay, and finally what we do is hardening. Now this process seems simple, but it is not, because you have to put a lot of permutations and combinations about the concentrations of these antifungal and antibacterial agents or these plant growth regulators like the BNA or 2,4-D, all such plant regulators. Now in my study, while I was taking the concentrations of these antifungal and antibacterial agents, at first I had taken 0.5, 0.6, so those concentrations. But I had to keep in mind that if I took low concentrations of the antifungal agents and higher concentrations of the antibacterial agents, then I'll get fungal contamination. Or if vice versa, I'll get the bacterial contamination. So I had to keep in mind all these points and design my experiment. Now let me tell you something about Dendrocalamus giganteus. It is the tallest bamboo amongst all the other bamboos, and its stem is really very strong. Like you can see in this picture, it has a giant stem, and that is the reason why why the name is Dendrocalamus giganteus. People also call it as dragon bamboo or giant bamboo. Okay, so I had to take, but this bamboo is really strong, but it is very sensitive. If we treat that bamboo with, higher concentrations of fungal and bacterial, then it may give me browning or either contamination. These two were the only results which I observed in my experiment, and I was really tensed at the end of my project that how can I just design my project that I'm just getting the results like my cultures are either contaminating or browning is observed in my cultures. Like this were my results, and you can see I have either observed browning or contamination or browning with contamination. So these were my results for literally 5 to 5.5 months, and I was so tensed. So this problem was solved because I had read literally hundreds to 150 research papers during the start of my project. And we usually find reading research papers really very boring, but it plays a major role in our research, because from that we get to know that okay, this concentration we can't use this concentration because this concentration may result in browning or may result in contamination. So we have a lot of different combinations of these PGRs or a lot of different concentrations of these PGRs and these antifungal bacterial agents. But from research papers, we can just strike out the combinations that, okay, I can't use this combination because this may give this result. So it really becomes easy for us to, plan our experiment for our dissertation. Okay, so finally, after literally in the end of my training period, these were the results that I observed. Now, first picture you can see, those were the nodal explants which I had collected. And after that, the second picture below it was my shoot proliferation which was observed in Dendrocalamus giganteus. And I was really relieved at that moment that okay, finally I got this result But after that, my project period ended and all this pandemic situation arrived, and I was stuck there for 2 months. So, and that time also we went in the lab and did work with other PhD students. And let me tell you guys that this is really very important. You should always make good connections with other PhD students and other researchers who are working there, because of that I was able to gain my experience in all the other fields that I had just mentioned, like the biochemistry or aeroponics, hydroponics, and that really helped me a lot. Let me tell you how. After achieving the shoot proliferation, I just thought that I wanted to take my project to a one step ahead, because I had I had obtained the proliferation of this plant, but what are its uses? Is it really worth? Is this plant really useful? And I had read in the research paper that this plant has medicinal uses, but there weren't much experiments done about its medicinal uses. So for that I had to do biochemical characterization of this plant. And I was going to do a biochemical characterization, but I had no other thing to compare. So then I thought that let's compare my plant with another plant of the same species, same clade and same kingdom, and that was Dendrocalamus hamiltoni. So I did biochemical tests about this plant and compared the results of this plant with other plant, that is Dendrocalamus hamiltoni. Okay, and I used these basic procedures for doing my for calculating my secondary metabolites, that is total phenolic content, total flavonoid content, and the plant biomolecules like the carotenoids, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Okay, so after that I compared those results and then added it in my dissertation. Now this was possible just because I had worked with different PhD students and I had gained experience in all the other fields, and that is the reason I was able to apply that thing in my project. If I didn't did that, then what would have happened is I just had to go forward with my micropropagation, like I had to put the plants for rooting, and that wasn't possible for me because my training period was over, and to attend the rooting I had to wait for more 6 months, and that wasn't in my hand. So I tried of doing the biochemical characterization of the shoots and the leaves, tissue cultured grown shoots and the leaves. Okay, now let me tell you some of the troubleshoots that I faced. First of all, the sample collection. Now, sample collection was one of the most difficult part for me because, now in the first picture you can see that is we can call it a forest of bamboos. It had different, various types of bamboos like Tulda, Dendrocalamus hamiltoni, Dendrocalamus giganteus, or different kinds of bamboos were grown there. And these are all the cultures which were established in CSIR lab. Okay, so and in sample collection, what we had to do is we had to go like 2 kilometers away walking, because this was this was there in CSIR area itself, but it was 2 kilometers away. So I had to go there 2 kilometers every day and bring those samples, do all the procedure like the treatments and the inoculation. So it was really very difficult for me. And also in bamboo, you can't just collect the samples and store it in the refrigerator, because that can't be done. One of the PhD students told me that you can't do this thing with bamboo because that can lose its properties, and also it can give you results very late. So don't do that. Better collect fresh samples and then inoculate it. Okay, and second problem was contamination and browning. As I mentioned earlier, I had to really take care about the concentrations or about the combinations which I had used, because if the concentration of any if Bevistin or streptomycin would have lowered or would have increased, then it would either give browning or contamination, and these two were the main problems that I had solved during my project. Okay, so and the second picture you can see these are the leaves of Dendrocalamus giganteus, and these are the flowers of Dendrocalamus giganteus. So from flowers you can also do micropropagation, and you can also use leaves for micropropagation, but that can be obtained by indirect organogenesis. That is, after leaves you get the callus formation, and from that you can get micropropagation. Okay. Besides this, what was the main problem that I faced was seasonal changes. In Himachal, it literally rains every day, and that was the major problem that I faced, because after the pouring, I can't inoculate the cultures, because I had done it 2 to 3 times, but within 2 days I had observed contamination in that. It was fungal contamination which I had observed. So within 2 days I had observed that contamination in my cultures. So it was worthless to literally do the inoculation after rain. So I had to wait for so many days, and I had less days in my hand to complete my project. So that was also the major factor that I had considered. So yeah, that's it about my project. But other than this, I would like to mention some of the points which will really help you to make your project better and to score good marks in presentation as well as in Viva. Because while presentation, Viva is the toughest part, I think, for most of the students. So I would like to give you some of the tips to score good in your presentation as well as in Viva. Now, what you have to do is, while performing your test, or if you have no idea about what is going on in your project, I'm mentioning this because there were some of the students who had faced this problem, and I don't want this problem for you guys to face, so I'm suggesting this. There were some of the students that don't know about what exactly is going on in their project, what is the role of this thing, what exactly I'm doing. So what you can do is, when there are really some days left to complete your thesis or to complete your training, what you do is you ask the role of each and every chemical which you're using in your project. Like for example, take the second, like the determination of total flavonoid content. How can we explain this process? Like we usually explain it like, okay, take the plant extract, then I added 10% of AlCl3, then I added 750 ml of NaOH, and then I added 2.5 ml of distilled water, and then I incubated it, etc. etc. We generally give our presentations like this. But rather than that, you can give it like this. Like you just take the roles of each and every component which you have used. Now the major roles in the flavonoid content, in the flavonoid process is the role of AlCl3. How can we get the components in spectrophotometer? If you have colored components, then and then only you can check the quantity, or you can check the absorbance in spectrophotometer. Okay, so you can explain this like, the plant material was crushed in methanol. Now the role of methanol is it extracts most of the plant extract from the plant material, and we can also use ethanol in place of methanol, but methanol gives the best results, so we used methanol. Okay, after that you can say that AlCl3 forms a complex with flavonoids, and that is the reason why we get the color. Okay, and from that we can check the absorbance or the optical density at its highest absorbance, that is 510 nanometer. If you explain your presentation like this, in this way, then it will be really easy for the examiner to understand that what work you have done. Okay, and there won't be much questions for them as well to ask you, because in my case they didn't ask me any questions. Like one of the examiners said that, okay, you have explained it so beautifully that we don't have really any questions to ask you, while the second just asked me 1 to 2 questions, and those were like, what were the combinations that you tried, and I had already mentioned that while explaining my project, so it was really easy for me to tell them the same thing. And the examiner also told me that okay, I really don't have any questions to ask because you have already explained it really well. So this is my request to you guys that please take the role of each and every component which you are using in your experiment or in your thesis and try to explain the role of each and every component while giving your presentation.